Hello and welcome to Jetavanaram Buddhist Monastery. Well, by now you're all regulars here, and it's great to have you all join in these talks on a regular basis. I think this is our 8th episode of this new series of Dhamma talks. And I believe that by now you will all have a good idea as to what it is that we are hoping to achieve by presenting these talks to you. I'll admit, the title of these talks, The Buddha's Guide to Happiness, seems like quite a tall order to present to you in a series of talks. Quite simply because people all around the world live confidently that they have discovered and sometimes even mastered the art of happiness. So it may sound suspicious or sometimes even unnecessary that someone comes along and presents another way of achieving happiness. And this is why throughout these talks I have asked that you remain the adjudicator of whatever we talk about in these talks, and that at no point would I expect you to believe and blindly accept anything that I say simply because I'm a monk, or that you may believe that I must know what I'm talking about. I know for myself that what I'm saying is true, and it's true for me, and I believe it must be true for you. But for as long as you remain with us and listen to these talks, I will continue to expect the same from you, and that is to remain the adjudicator of whatever you listen, whatever you learn, and to apply that in the lab of life, to make sure that although you trust, you verify such that the content of these talks, the words that you hear, and the essence of this becomes true for you. I only share this with you because what I share with you today has helped me achieve personally, on a very personal level, it has helped me achieve an unconditional happiness. And I speak with confidence that as we progress on this path, I believe I'll be able to share that path with you, so that not only I but others may benefit from this for many years to come, even when I'm no longer. So before we continue then, and take another step on our journey, let us take a moment to pay veneration to the Supreme, the Enlightened Lord Buddha. And it is thanks to him that today we have the Dhamma that has been so masterfully expounded and available to all us sentient beings to understand, comprehend, and realize this ultimate truth. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. A quick recap of what we discussed last week. Last week we continued from where we have left off the previous week, and that was our discussion of beauty. Beauty is a word that we use to express an experience of pleasure. When we experience pleasure, particularly through our eyes and through the sights that we see, we use this word beauty. So we say it's a beautiful sunset, it's a beautiful drawing, it's a beautiful dress, a beautiful flower, and so on. And for the simplicity of our discussion, I asked that we use this word beauty not only for sight but also to express the pleasure that we experience when we take in inputs through our other senses. So these are the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, our 5 sense doors. Now, so far, I hope you're all on board and this is all making perfect sense to you. Nothing I have shared with you so far, I believe, is complicated, convoluted, or difficult to understand. This is all really simple stuff and in very plain and simple English. So really, even a 6 or 7-year-old should be able to understand and grasp the essence of what I have shared with you thus far. My intention is to continue to keep it simple, because sometimes the most profound things, when expressed in the most simple terms, has the best effect on the people who listen to it and who learn it, and then who must apply it to reap the benefits of it. So, we took a step forward and tried to understand the makeup of this beauty. What consists beauty? How does beauty come into being? Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. We talked about this last week. Meaning that beauty is not something that we can expect to find in worldly objects, the objects that we see around us or in the people that we see around us. It is not in the sights or the sounds, the smells or the tastes or the touch that we experience around us, but rather it is our perception of these inputs, these sensory inputs, when and once they reach our mind. So if beauty is our perception of something, then that explains why beauty is subjective rather than objective. Because you see, whatever we come to accept as the truth must stand the test of life. So I can't just give you some new concept and expect you to just take it on board and run with it. What we must do together is to try these new concepts that we learn in the lab of life, in our experiences, in our personal experiences, as we live the world, as we live in the world that we do, and see how much they stand the test. So, we know from our experience that different people have differing opinions on what beauty is for them. So something that is beautiful for someone is not so beautiful to another. Something that is extremely beautiful, extremely attractive to someone can be quite distasteful to another. And that is true not only for sight, but also for sound, music that we listen to. Some people find classical music quite entertaining, relaxing, soothing, and very appealing. Then there will be others who find it quite distasteful. It is just not their cup of tea. Some people really enjoy rock music, heavy metal, whereas others find that an earache quite distasteful. So that's a personal preference, isn't it? We often talk about personal preferences. When we offer someone a cup of tea, we ask them, how do you prefer your tea, sir, madam, my friend? Do you like it with or without sugar? And that's not really a test of whether they've got diabetes. But instead, what we're asking them is, how do you like the taste of your tea? Or how do you like your tea to taste even? Do you like it with sugar or do you like it without sugar? Think about the number of flavors of tea that we have in today's world. All the different types of coffee. All the different types of beverages that we have today. And it's not just to give you a caffeine boost. It's also for the purpose of taste. These new beverages are created and invented by specialists in taste, food specialists, connoisseurs in coffee and tea and beverages and so on. Think about the number of different types of chocolate that we have, or biscuits that we have, or cakes that we have. You name it. Every type of food comes in so many different types of flavors, tastes, smells, and even the way they look. Why does it matter? What color your rice is? But does it not have an effect on your experience of it? Some people like white rice, others like red rice, others like yellow rice. Sometimes they have the same taste, but one finds one more appealing, more appetizing than the other. What has sight got to do with that? So, you see, this concept of beauty truly seems like something to do with perception. In other words, it seems subjective rather than objective. Sounds, again, subjective rather than objective. Smells. Think about the different types of air fresheners that we have today. There's sandalwood, there's rose, there's jasmine, you name it. Why do we need so many different types of air freshener? Because if there was one air freshener, one smell air freshener that everyone found appealing, then why would you need a second? Why would you need so many different types? Why would they need to produce them in so many different fragrances? Fabric softeners even? They all come in different smells. But why? See, these are things that we need to think about, because these things we use to make decisions about our lives, don't we? What you find beautiful, what you find tasty, what you find delicious, what you find smells nice or sounds lovely, don't these things influence your decisions in life? Some decisions are small decisions, but others are big and quite impactful decisions. From what color you want your walls, to who you want to get married to. You wouldn't want to get married to someone you found unattractive, would you? So then now if you are beginning to understand this concept of beauty, you are presented with an opportunity to reflect on the decisions that you have made up until now in your life. That is all I'm asking you to do. I'm not asking you to make or change any of the decisions that you have. All I'm asking you to do is to reflect on them. Because remember, what is Buddhism for, after all? Buddhist philosophy? It is to realize. Once you realize, then the remainder is up to you. I'm not here to influence your decisions, but rather I'm just here to show you the facts. Once you've understood the facts, then it's totally up to you how you want to live the rest of your life. You can choose to go on living your life as you have lived the last few years, or you can make your own choices and make some changes only and only if you feel those changes are necessary. There were some changes that I felt were necessary in my life, and of course you can see what some of those changes are. It is obvious. But do we need to make any changes? Well, that depends on what this new insight brings you, what this new realization brings you. Okay, say we understand that beauty is subjective rather than objective. Now, so what? Okay, I understand that, I get it. So what, Bhante? Now that I've understood it, what do I need to do with that information? Well, here's the thing. Last week we talked about manipulation. How you may be manipulated to make decisions about your life based on some of the things that have been fed into your mind, which today perhaps you realize aren't necessarily true. We talked about adverts. And in these advertisement campaigns, the objective is to try and convince you that beauty can be offered to you in the products and services that someone presents to you, that that particular company presents to you, and that is what the campaign is all about. Whether it's air freshener, or an item of food, or it's hair conditioner, whatever the case might be. Advertisement campaigns will focus on trying to convince you and therefore to influence your purchasing decisions. And to do so, you will be presented with information that seems true on the outset, but now armed with this information, this new realization, hopefully you're beginning to unravel some of the ways in which you may have been influenced and more so manipulated. Do I have anything against advertisement campaigns? Absolutely not. And long may they continue. I've got nothing against them. So therefore, I have to answer your question. So what is it then that we should do now that we understand this? That beauty is not in the object, but rather it is something that the mind perceives, and it's different from person to person. So what? What next? What is all this for? What is the goal? What is the target? Why do we need to be interested in this? Firstly, I want to help you make sure that the decisions you make in your life are the right ones. So, in other words, I want to make you feel empowered about the decisions that you make in your life. I would like for you to make decisions in your life based on the truth, rather than someone else's version of the truth. So just because someone comes up to your door and says, "Oh, hello madam, we've got this most wonderful, the best, the most delicious something that we would like to present to you. And instead of you falling for it based on what someone has said to you and even indoctrinated you, I'd much prefer for you to be able to make that decision on your own. Give me the facts and I will decide. Wouldn't you rather that you had that choice rather than you being manipulated to make some of those decisions? Because you see, if you make the wrong decision, then based on a decision, you will then go into action. Because what comes after decision? Well, it is action. So, if you make the wrong decision, then from there on, you will start to take action to get yourself from where you are now to whatever decision you have made and to make that come true for you. But what if that decision is not based on facts? What if that decision is not based on the truth? Now we have a problem. Because you will work hard to achieve that, won't you? If someone, say, comes up to you and talks to you about a painting, let's say they tell you, there's a wonderful painting, it's the most beautiful thing that you will ever see. Let me take you with me and show this to you. And then you accompany them and then they present to you a painting and say, see, this is the most wonderful painting ever. How much is it? You may ask. Oh, it's 5 million. Now, let's imagine you actually did have the money to afford this. Well, still, it's not easy money. It's money you've worked hard for. And it's your money. But, you see, based on that manipulation, in other words, someone else's version of the truth, which is technically not the truth. It's simply their perception. It's simply their opinion. You are now influenced, and now you will part with your hard-earned cash to buy what someone else found beautiful, but you didn't, not until they convinced you. I want to give you something to think about. This is food for thought. Let's take the example that I just shared with you. So say you're in an art gallery and you're taking a walk through the gallery and observing the paintings on the walls, and someone comes up to you and interests you in a painting. And they say, well, this is this much money, and so $5 million, would you like to have it? See, the thing is this. When they say that the price of this painting is $5 million, what they're really saying is, for $5 million, I'm willing to let you have it because I find 5 million more appealing than this painting. Would you agree with me on that? So what they're saying is, for 5 million, I'll let you have this. Not for a penny less, but for 5 million, I'll let you have this. So in other words, what they're really saying is, 5 million is what I need from you for me to decide, for me to be able to make a decision that I no longer want this, then you can have it. So what does that really mean? It means what you're willing to pay 5 million for because you think it's worth it. Really, they think it's not worth it. What do I mean by that? Well, you see, you are willing to part with your money for that painting. And they are willing to part with the painting for your money. So they find the money in your pocket more attractive than the painting. To them, that is what they want more than the painting. For you, what you want more is the painting than the money that's in your possession right now. So, what is valuable? Which one of these two things is valuable? Is it the 5 million or is it the painting? Now we have to ask the question, well, what is value? Is value something that is intrinsic in the object, or is it simply a perception? Because if value were in the object, then why would you be willing to part with your money for that painting? If they were the same value for both people, why would they be willing to part with that? I'll give you another example. Let's say you go up to a car salesman. Okay, so a $5 million painting may be a bit far-fetched of an example. Let's say you walk up to a car salesman and you have a look around and you're interested in a particular car, and you go up to them and ask them, how much is this car? And they'll give you the sales talk, and finally they tell you, all right, this car is, let's say, 10,000 sterling pounds. This car is 10,000 sterling pounds. So what they're saying is, for 10,000 pounds, they're willing to let go of their ownership of the car. Really what they're saying is, if you give me 10,000, I am happy to decide that this car does not belong to me. Instead, I will take your money. And what you're saying is, if you let go of your ownership of that car, I'm willing to give you 10,000. So in other words, I'm willing to let go of this ownership of a 10,000 sterling pounds if you would just be willing to let me have that car. Now you see, could trade ever happen if what is more attractive, what is more appealing were in the object? If what is appealing, what is attractive, what is beautiful, if it were in the object, do you think we could trade things with each other? Is it not because value and attractiveness and appeal is something that is in the mind, something that we perceive, our own opinions determine that? Isn't that the very reason that we can actually trade things with each other? Or buy and sell things for money? Because of course you'll take the money and you may go and buy something else that you think is attractive, or the salesman. They may go on a holiday. But you see, fortunately, the car salesman did not think that the car was the most attractive thing to him, because otherwise he would not be willing to let you have it. But you are willing to let go of your cash to buy the car. Whereas he is willing to let go of the car to get your cash. So which one is more valuable? Is it the money or is it the car? If they were of equal value, then why would you even need to trade? He'll keep his car, you keep your money.